Hi, welcome to my studio. My name is Debbie Avoux, and today we're going to be painting with watercolor. Usually I work with acrylics, but today we're going to mix it up a little bit, and we're going to be creating this watermelon slice with watercolor. This is Poet. Poet, can you say hi? Say hi. He's gonna be helping. Not really, he doesn't help at all. So we'll be painting this watermelon slice. It's really easy and anybody can do it. So the one thing about watercolor is you can't get too set on how you want it to look. I feel like that's a curse, and a great thing about watercolor is it's gonna just sort of flow where it's gonna flow. So I tend to get very detail oriented and I want everything perfect. That's why I work in acrylics, because I can make it very precise. With watercolor, sometimes you can't get it exactly the way you want it. So every little bit of texture, you're not going to paint in every little tiny little dot and little shadow and all that. So you're just going to let it go where it's going to go and just keep an open mind about it. And it's actually a lot of fun as long as you have that mindset. So please join me. We're going to have fun with this one. And now I'm ready. For your supplies, you're going to need some watercolor paper. You can either buy a pad like this one or individual sheets. I took a 9x12 sheet and cut it in half for this project, but really you can do any size. You're going to need watercolor paints. I found this set at Michael's for about $5, so you can find them really cheap. You're going to need 2 brushes, one medium to large size with a pointy tip on it, and then one little tiny one for a few little details we're going to be adding. You'll need a water cup and some paper towels. And you're going to need some opaque white paint. You can use either gouache or acrylic paint will work fine. As for colors, you're going to need a dark red, a light red, a yellow, a light green, a dark green, a periwinkle color or a light blue will work fine, and black. Okay, so you got your paper. Sometimes there's a smoother side. You want to do the side that's a little bit rougher. Then what we're going to do is we're just going to draw this very lightly. Triangle with a curved bottom. Have it go a little bit past there. Angle this line down and then have that side meet right there. I drew it a little darker than you want to do it, but I just did that so you could see it on the camera, but I'm going to go through and just lighten it up so I can barely see it. Because you want to do this really light, because you don't want pencil lines to show. Some people don't mind that, but I prefer the pencil lines to show. I'm getting the brush very wet. And I'm just going to outline, not all the way down to the bottom. I'm just going to add some water, get it wet right along this front triangle, but I'm not going all the way down. I'm leaving it stopping about an inch above. Then I'm going to take a little bit of the red and I'm just going to outline right along the edges of where I put the water. Now the great thing about watercolor, and the thing I hate about it, is you never know really where it's going to go. You don't have a ton of control. And that's the cool thing about it. Like every time you paint this, you could do 10 of these and they're all going to look a little bit different. So we got it really wet so that way the paint is just kind of finding its way where it wants to go. So you're just going to outline that. And then we're going to take a little more of that and we're going to outline the right side. So don't go right up to that edge yet. You're just going to go right along the edges, because you still have a lot of water on your brush, so it should be safe. Add a little more water, just a little bit. Just going to paint a little water. Just go right up to the edge, not quite to the very edge. And I'll put a little more of the paint on there. Just kind of swirl it around, and again, don't go all the way to the edge. Just want to let that kind of go where it's going to go. Now if you want to make this a little bit more of a sharp edge, just you can bring that up a little. I want to make that more of a pointy edge. Okay. And just kind of dab your brush around. And let it sort of flow where it's going to flow. That's what makes it look fun. And then we're going to clean off our brush. And you got to keep this loose. We're going to take a little bit of the yellow, get it nice and wet, and we're going to go right below. Just going to do a stripe. We're not going to go quite to the very bottom edge yet. Do that. Let's add a little more on that side. We're going to keep a little bit of white in between. And then let's just dip it into the medium green. Let's do the light green. I think that's what we picked. And now we're going to outline the bottom edge like this. A little more paint on the brush. And go all the way across there. And you kind of want it to run into the yellow a little bit. Oops. I'm going out of lines. That's okay. I'll let that sort of run into there. Clean off your brush. And if you want these to sort of run into each other, just add a little more water. Just with a clean brush. Let it sort of blend into that yellow there. Then we're going to take a little bit of our dark red and just use the very, very tip of the brush. And we're going to do a little edge, a little water there. Let's do it right along the edge there. And let's dab a little bit of this darker red into that side. Let's just dab a little, let's put a little more water on there. Dab a little bit, make it kind of splotchy. We just want that side to be a little bit darker. And keep it loose. Just dabbing a little here and there. And then I'm also going to be making the parts where the seeds are going to go. Make these a little bit darker. It's going to be a little deeper hole where the seed's going to go. And you don't want to do too many seeds, because then it'll start to look like a strawberry. So I'm just going to do about that many. Let's do a couple over here too. Just make it a little bit darker hole. Okay. We could even do maybe just a little more water in there. Just dab a little, give a little more interest, a little more texture here and there. Get a little bit wet, and then it'll just kind of blend in and flow here and there. All right, I'm gonna let that dry a little bit. And while we're doing that, let's take a little bit of this darker green. Not too much water. So take that dark green, and we're gonna go right along this bottom edge. So this, I'll do a skinny little line right on the bottom edge. Make that a little bit darker. And let's do a little smudge. You know how they have those little stripes on them. Clean that off. Let's just take a wet brush and let that blend in a little. Just gonna add a little water to the green so it blends in a little bit. Clean that off. I'm going to add a little more yellow. I'm just going to go in a little more yellow.
And I want to lighten this up a little bit, right along the bottom. Just gonna take a wet brush and just sort of wipe away a little here and there until you kind of got the look you like. All right, we want to let this dry a little bit. So let's let that dry for about 2 minutes. You could take a hair dryer, but you want to be really careful if you use a hair dryer. You don't want it to blow your paint around. So be real careful about that. We're going to take this light bluish periwinkle color, add a little bit of water, and we're going to add a little bit just on this right side. Paint around. Clear it off. Just going to smear that around a little bit. Feel like you got too much, you can just take a clean brush with some little bit of water and add little bits of here and there if you want. We're going to do a little shadow below. So right underneath, do this really tight right underneath. Darker right underneath it, and then it's just gonna go off to the side. Take your brush, wet it, add a little more water, and let's just have that go right straight across, right off the edge of the page. And this will just come right underneath. This is tricky because I'm not using an overhead camera. I'm trying to, if you saw my setup, you'd laugh. I've got a tripod with right in front of me, so I'm sticking my arms through the legs of the tripod, trying to work at a normal position. It's not normal. It's a little awkward. Okay, so that's the shadow. And then the seeds, we're gonna use our little brush, little tiny brush. And you don't want this to be too wet. We're gonna use black. You don't want this to be too wet because we actually want this shape to stay in the position that we want. So we're gonna make sure the pointy part of your seed is upwards and you're just doing a little teardrop shape. Okay, I don't have enough paint, enough water on there. You want enough water to flow, but not so much it's gonna run. And you're gonna do it a little bit to the right of that little. You wanna make sure they're consistent, pretty much the same size. But you wanna make sure that little pointy part of the seed is facing towards the point. So the point should be facing towards the point of the triangle. Let's do a couple over here too. Okay. All right. Then let's do a little shadow with our same periwinkle color. Just a little bit. And we're going to add a little shadow to the left of each. You don't want to smear it. It's better if it's dry. Just a little shadow. Oh my gosh, that's too much paint. A little shadow. Can even mix a little dark red in there. Fix up some edges. And I want just a little more texture in my watermelon, so I'm gonna add a little more. That's a little too wet. Wipe off some of the water. I just want a little more mix of texture. Just gonna put a little water, sort of tap it all around. I want it to flow so it kind of naturally does some texture-y type things, but we'll let that dry a little. You can add a little taps of water onto it and then it'll sort of flow where it's going to flow. And then the last part, actually I think I want to make this dark green. I just want to add a little more dark green. Now that it's dry, that'll stay a crisper line. Right there along the bottom edge. And then we're going to take our gouache, and you can either use white acrylic paint or a little bit of this. I'm just going to take it right out of the tube. Just going to put a little teeny tiny bit on the tip of the brush, and we're going to add a little highlight on each seed. And the reason why we're using this is because watercolor white, you can't really bring the white back. And if you do too big of a highlight, you can always just wipe it away with a little bit of water. I think we are done. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit the like button and consider subscribing if you haven't already. If you do, hit that little bell also, and you'll get notified every time I upload new videos. So if you did follow along with this tutorial, I would love to see pictures of your work. If you could tag me on Instagram, that would be amazing. My Instagram page is Avoux Studio, and that would be so fun to see. And comment down below, let me know what other kind of things you'd like to learn how to paint. All right, well, have a great day, and we will, oh, you're heavy. You're so heavy, you're fat. Oh my God, my arm's falling asleep. Okay, can you sit up? Oh, yeah, that's much better. Okay, all right, have a great day, bye. You know, you just want to sleep. All you ever do is sleep. You're very cute though. So lazy though. So lazy.